It was just another lazy Sunday afternoon, the kind of day where time stretches, and everything outside moves in slow motion. I was lounging on the couch, completely absorbed in a gripping thriller novel that kept me on the edge of my seat. The world around me faded as I turned each page, lost in the suspenseful twists and turns of the story. Suddenly, my wife Sarah walked in, and the sunlight streaming through the window caught her hair, making it glow like spun gold. I couldn't help but smile at her radiant beauty. Little did I know that her next words would turn my world upside down. "Hey, just so you know," she said casually, as if she were merely announcing a trip to the grocery store, "this Sunday I'm going to a dance club with some friends." Her tone was so calm, it took me by surprise. We had never discussed such plans, and the idea of her being in a club stirred a rush of mixed emotions within me: jealousy, worry, excitement. I wasn't entirely sure which one prevailed. "What dancing club?" I asked, striving to keep my voice steady. It wasn't that I minded her going out, I just felt a sudden unease about it. Sarah's friends had never invited her out like this before, and the unexpectedness of it all left me with a knot in my stomach. She shrugged, a playful smile dancing on her lips. "Just a new place that opened downtown. I think it'll be fun." "Fun," I echoed, letting the word hang in the air between us. It felt loaded, pregnant with possibilities I couldn't fully grasp. "And who exactly is going?" I pressed, attempting to mask my concern. The more she spoke, the more questions swirled in my mind. "Just a few girls from work and maybe a couple of guys, you know, just to dance and have a good time," she replied, her nonchalant attitude only intensifying my curiosity. I couldn't help but wonder who these guys were and what their intentions might be. The thought of her being around other men, especially in a club setting, stirred a protective instinct in me. "Will you be safe?" I asked, trying to keep my worry under control. "I mean, it's a club. You know how those places can get." My concern was genuine. The last thing I wanted was for her to feel uncomfortable or find herself in a situation she couldn't handle. "Come on, it'll be fine. You worry too much," she said, rolling her eyes playfully. "Besides, I'll be with my friends. You trust me, right?" Her question struck me like a bolt of lightning. I wanted to reassure her with a confident yes, but I felt a twinge of uncertainty creeping in. As the days leading up to that Sunday passed, each morning began with the nagging thought in the back of my mind: what if something went wrong? What if she met someone? I recognized how irrational these thoughts were, yet the seed of doubt had been planted and refused to budge. Finally, Sunday arrived, bringing with it an odd mix of anticipation and anxiety. I watched as Sarah got ready, slipping into a stunning black dress that hugged her curves perfectly. She twirled in front of the mirror, her face lighting up with excitement, and I couldn't help but admire her beauty. At the same time, my stomach twisted in knots. "Are you sure you don't want to come?" she asked, tilting her head as she adjusted her earrings. Her offer felt like a lifeline, a chance to quell my unease. But I hesitated. "No, I think I'll just stay in and catch up on some shows," I replied, trying to sound casual. Deep down, I wanted to keep an eye on her, but I didn't want to appear possessive. As she walked out the door, the sound of it clicking shut behind her engulfed the house in a wave of silence. I paced the living room, glancing at the clock every few minutes as if willing it to move slower. I tried to distract myself with a movie, but my mind kept drifting back to thoughts of Sarah dancing in that club. Hours dragged on, consumed by questions of what she might be doing. Was she having fun? Did she feel out of place? The more I tried to push those thoughts away, the more persistent they became. Finally, feeling an urge to know what was happening, I decided to take action. Grabbing my phone, I texted her, "How's it going?" I hoped for a quick response that would ease my worries. But as the minutes turned into what felt like hours, my stomach tightened with anxiety again. Just as I was about to call her, my phone buzzed to life. It was a picture of Sarah, surrounded by her friends, all of them smiling brightly, drinks in hand. "We're having so much fun," the caption read. Relief washed over me for a brief moment, only to be quickly overshadowed by a fresh wave of jealousy. Who were these people? What was really happening? I continued to check my phone, anxiously waiting for updates. Each ping sent my heart racing, and each photo brought a new level of unease. The images showed Sarah and her friends laughing and dancing, clearly enjoying themselves. Yet there was something about the atmosphere in those pictures that unsettled me, a feeling I couldn't quite put into words. As the clock struck midnight, my phone buzzed again. It was Sarah texting me, "I'm heading home now. I had a blast, can't wait to tell you all about it." A rush of relief washed over me, but it quickly faded, replaced by a lingering sense of dread. About half an hour later, I heard the familiar sound of the door unlocking. Sarah walked in, her cheeks flushed and her eyes sparkling with joy. "You won't believe the night I had," she exclaimed, barely pausing for me to respond. I forced a smile, but the unease still clung to me like a shadow. Tell me everything, I said, hoping that her recounting would soothe my worries. She launched into an animated story about the club, the music, and her friends. Her enthusiasm was infectious, but as she spoke, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. Did you dance with anyone? I blurted out, my curiosity getting the better of me. Sarah paused, her smile faltering for a brief moment. Just my friends, she replied, her voice defensively tight. Just your friends? I echoed, my heart racing. So, you didn't meet any guys? The question hung in the air, thick with tension, and I felt a chill wash over the room. No, it wasn't like that, she replied, irritation creeping into her tone. We were just having fun, I promise. I took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm brewing inside me. I'm sorry, it's just... I began, but Sarah cut me off. You don't trust me, do you? The accusation stung, and I recoiled, feeling defensive. It's not that I don't trust you, I said quickly. It's just that it's a club, and things can happen. She crossed her arms, a flicker of hurt flashing in her eyes. I can take care of myself, you know. I'm not a child. Her words were firm, yet they pierced through the tension that enveloped us. I know you can, I replied, softening my tone. But it's hard not to worry. After a moment of silence, Sarah sighed, her posture relaxing slightly. I get it, really, but you have to trust me. I would never do anything to hurt you. I nodded, the weight of her words settling in. Perhaps I had been too quick to assume the worst. I realized I had let my fears cloud my judgment. As we talked more, I began to see the night from her perspective, the joy she experienced with her friends, the freedom of being out in a vibrant atmosphere. Slowly, the tension between us began to dissolve. Sarah's excitement was contagious, and I found myself drawn into her stories. The night had been filled with laughter and camaraderie, and I could understand why she had enjoyed it so much. Next time, maybe you could come with me, she suggested, her eyes brightening at the idea. I think you'd have a great time. The thought of joining her at a club seemed daunting yet intriguing. I had always been somewhat of an introvert, preferring quiet evenings at home, but perhaps it was time for a change. Maybe I will, I replied, a smile breaking through my earlier anxiety. But only if you promise to dance with me. She laughed, her joy infectious as we settled onto the couch together, the earlier tensions forgotten. In that moment, I realized that sometimes letting go of our insecurities can lead to unexpected joy. Maybe I would even learn to enjoy the dance of life a little more, one step at a time. The following Sunday, when Sarah suggested another night out, I surprised her with a grin. Let's hit that dance floor together. And just like that, I took the first step toward a new adventure, ready to dance my way into the unknown alongside the love of my life.